What's going on, y'all? Happy Saturday. Yes, happy Saturday. Your boy, bro, right here. And as you can see, I am on a solo right now, y'all. Yes. Definitely not complete without my boy Ray for the pod. And, life is lifing, y'all. When lifes, you know how that goes. So we making the adjustment again. We record these episodes ahead of time, and we are a lot of episodes deep, and we wanted to do that third one for this week, but again, because life is life in right now, Ray could not make today's live episode, so it is not an episode. It's actually just going to be a quick pop-up. Yes, again, Ray, it will not be able to make it, and if you missed it, missing my boy right now, but I wanted to just show up because that's what we do. We show up for each other. So if you have any questions or anything that you like to talk about, just go ahead and drop that in the chat there, because again, this is all about making sure that we connect. And happy Saturday. Yeah, let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know where you are watching this live stream from. I'm super excited. Again, as you can see, your boy was ready. But again, like I said, it's all G-O-O-D good. This is actually my last weekend, y'all. My last weekend of this year of my life. You feel? So I am let's see. What up? Yeah, fam out there. What's up, Mike? But yeah, just and just thinking about this last year. I'm always big on reflecting on what your last year of life was like. If we're blessed and able to make it to another year, thankful for that. And just reflecting on all of the changes. Yes, all of the changes, all of the adjustments, all of the wins, all of the lessons. I mean, I love to just be in that reflective state. So I really go into my high grounds crew, if I'm being honest. I go into my high grounds crew on my birthday time. And for those of you who aren't familiar, that's the high S in the DISC assessment. So I get real reflective. I get real introverted. Yes, I get real introverted because that is my second dominant style next to my flight attendant, which is the opposite. Both are feelings based, which makes sense, but just really going to take some time this weekend. And as I go into my birthday on Tuesday, just looking at everything, being thankful for every opportunity, every person, every relationship that is in my life, number one, number two, and number three, just really like thinking, okay, what adjustments do I need to make? What's the Men's Warehouse? I love it. Mike is getting fitted. Men's Warehouse, bro. I haven't heard of Men's Warehouse in a minute. That used to be, and probably still is, in most places, the spot. We still go out there and get everything, get suited and booted out there. Mike is always staying fly and fresh. Love it. And yeah, so I think, and I'll just kind of share some of my pre-reflections. So last year at this time, I wasn't in the mastermind. I was actually coming out of extreme execution. So last year was definitely a pivotal year in the way I'm continuing to add services and add value to past clients. So for those of you who don't know, I've been actually speaking and facilitating workshops since 2014. So I left my full-time hospital job after 11 years in adult mental health and switched over working in elementary schools, speaking at youth events, at church events. And then I just really wanted to go full-time using my voice, using the gift that God has given me, the gift of communication, the gift of simplifying, the gift of just bringing energy and passion in all that I do, whether it was to bring people closer to Christ. Again, I'm a believer that, especially working with youth, like, my goal is to get you as close to Christ as possible, then get out the way. Yes, Luda, move, get out the way. I said, get out the way. Yeah, for real. It's like, that's what it is, because we're not doing any conversions. It's God that's doing the converting. It's Jesus that's doing the converting. But our job working with young people in the faith-based space for me anyway was like, let's share with them possibilities. Let's pray with them. Let's talk about the things that they struggle with. Let's listen to where they are. I'm a big believer. Meet them where they are, as they are. Yes, as they are. And I think that's where a lot of us struggle. Can we really meet young people where they are? Right. And so do that full time, and then got into social emotional learning education. So started teaching the tools that I always call the preventative measures. Like, you hear it all the time. 1 ounce of prevention is better than 1 pound of cure. So after leaving the mental hospital after 11 years and saying, hey, what if we can support young people at an early age, even as early as elementary school, with the foundational tools and one of our flagship programs, Tools of the Heart. If we can get young people to build the capacity, build, the capacity to take, news that isn't always good. When we think about a lot of the times the behaviors that happen is a lot of the times because they're feeling mad or sad or frustrated because things didn't go their way. If we could teach the healthy communication, empathy, all of the ways that we can prevent mental illness, right? We hear it all the time. Mental health is definitely not the same thing as mental illness. So let's make sure that we're clear on that. And so moving forward, as I was doing that work for many years, which helped me, just really step into that space. Let's use that word. I stepped into the space from 2014, all the way up until now. I just got to this place where I'm just like, okay, so I'm facilitating workshops, I'm working with teachers, I'm working with parents. And I just started noticing more and more how much setting up the parents and setting up teachers are great, because now we can all share the same language. So if I'm teaching tools and there's certain language that we're sharing, like let's use it in the classroom. Let's use it at home. But of course, we have to support the parents as well. And so throughout the time, again, I'm just like feeling like we're just giving a little backstory here. One of the things that inspired me to work with adults, sadly, there was a school site where a young lady, she was in 5th grade. She ended up taking her life. And I just remember her through the times that I was facilitating workshops, and part of me was like, man, this is the reason we do this. So they can see how amazing they are, how smart they are, how powerful they are, how they have what it takes and that they're important, all the things. And just thinking about what was it like for her, that led up to that moment. What were the feelings that she was going through? What were the experiences that she was having? And this was way back in, I think, 2015, 2016. My heart was shattered, not just for her, but for the school, for the friends. And then when I met the parents, I just saw parents who cared for their child, who were missing, who had this missing part of them. I saw the hole in their heart. Like I just saw parents. I didn't see parents who didn't care. I didn't see parents, who didn't love their child. So it broke my heart, and I said, okay, well, what are we missing? What are we missing? And it just really inspired me to say, okay, I do work with the students and I do work with the youth, but how can I pour into the adults that serve these youth? How can I pour into the parents that are just doing their best? And so that's when it really came to like, okay, all right, let's take the same tools, the same approach, bring your same heart, bring the same mindset, and now let's really work more with adults, or just as much, just as equally. Because at the time I was seeing schools where I'm like visiting a school, 4 to 8 times a year, sometimes more. And of course I get to see the teachers there, and I would, connect with the teachers and to do some strategies. But I said, let's be more intentional with how we're supporting our parents. Now, yes, initially it was just supporting them by helping them understand the tools and use the tools, which is a powerful way to create more connection, a powerful way to serve, our children, whether at home or in the classroom. But then I also started noticing another gap. And the other gap was like, okay, well, how can we even help the parents do their own personal or professional development? Like, how can we not just help them with their kids, which is great, but their students, but how can we just even help them grow professionally and personally? And so then that's using EQ. So then it started the self-awareness program. That's where the flight assessment, also known as the DISC assessment, came in, but I use it as a self-awareness tool. So when we use it, it's just a starting point, helping us understand our patterns, our preferences, our tendencies, our strengths, our limitations, right? And we can use this tool as a way to notice when we're at like optimal, when we're like at our most optimal peak and our performance and things are going good, or when we're like not doing so well. And so 2022, I decided to, again, I took the assessment in 2019. My wife took it in 2020. Our daughter took it in 2021. And you take them every year. And every year it's been pretty much the same. My dominant is still the dominant. My primary, my secondary is still the secondary. And so last year, getting certified to be able to take this assessment, this game-changing self-awareness tool is the way I frame it, is how I use it, how I position it in the marketplace anyways, and said, all right, let's do this. So this year, so far, I've had 240 staff that have taken the assessment, and school year just started. So now I'm doing some follow-ups with them. I'm gonna, I started a personal growth plan. Well, it's a PPGP, PPGP. I, created a worksheet, personal and professional growth plan. And so it's just an opportunity using their dominant styles, using their strengths, understanding their limitations, coming up with an action plan, writing down accountability partners. Like the goal this year is not just, okay, this sounds good, but no, let's really walk together. And I'm using this model as the same model we use with young people. Let's walk with our young people. Let's walk with our young people, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And so from last year to this year, definitely, of course, over time, just maturation in the assessment in the sense of getting more reps in, working with individuals, working with couples, working with families, working with large groups, working with church groups. Like I've been able to use the assessment in so many ways that in the last 12 months, it's just been an eye opener for like how powerful the tool is, but how EQ, emotional intelligence, is everywhere. Like that's just something I noticed when we look at those who are like super successful and we look at those who aren't, right? Like let's go back to, your assessment, and you don't even need the assessment. Let's just go back to the patterns, the healthy and the unhealthy patterns, the healthy and the unhealthy behaviors, right? Like let's really take a look to see, and then we go through this process of self-discovery. All right, self-awareness. And like I say time and time again, self-awareness is not the same as self-mastery. But the moment you start recognizing these patterns and you start making the adjustments, the moment you start making those what we call small steps that lead to these great distances, you start unlocking things. And I don't know about y'all, but like when I'll play a video game and you unlock that level to get to the next level, right? That feeling of the confidence, right? The swag is different. The way you move is different. And that's how I feel like things have been since last year to this year. Things are starting to unlock because I'm still working on the things I need to be working on, because I'm staying patient and having the fortitude to stay in the battle. All right, we talk about fortitude. Fortitude is not just courage, but think about a fort. If you think about a fort in a war, it does not move. Right? The fort doesn't go, oh, wow, there's a bunch of soldiers coming my way, I'm out. Nah, the fort stays put. And so my invitation, whenever I talk about fortitude to young people or even to adults, do you have the fortitude to stay in the battle when it's uncomfortable? Do you have the fortitude to have the hard conversations or just listen to the things that might not be easy to listen to the truth, to face the reality, but having the fortitude to do that, having the emotional capacity and the emotional resilience to do that. It's all EQ. It's all EQ. It's all emotional intelligence, everything. And so I got this method, unpack the underneath. All right, y'all, unpack the underneath. And what am I saying there? So let's just look at the very surface level, look at a behavior, whatever the behavior is. The behavior usually roots because of something underneath, and that underneath is a emotion or a feeling. So if I'm yelling or lashing out, that's the behavior. Underneath that is an emotion, a feeling that's causing the behavior. Because the feelings are okay to have. Be mad, be sad, be frustrated. I say this time and time again. It's okay to be mad, but what's not okay is when you start taking those feelings out on yourself or on other people. So unpack the underneath is the method I use where let's unpack the underneath. Okay, well, where did those feelings come from? How did those feelings even show up? And then guess what we're going to do? Unpack the underneath again. And then, okay, well, how long have I Has this been happening? How long has this activated me? How far back can I remember that this was always something that happened or showed up? And then we unpack the underneath. And there we go again. We're unpacking the underneath. And once we start really unpacking all the layers, and we are sitting in it with fortitude and sitting it with an open heart and just really looking at like, wow, this is how I got here. And just having that moment of vulnerability, having that moment of honesty with yourself, then we can really start moving the needle. So when we're talking road to results, we're talking about all of the results, not just financial, y'all. Emotional, spiritual, relational. Like our prayer, Ray and I's prayer for everyone that hears this podcast, that watches this podcast, that you will seek the results that you desire in all areas of your life. It doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter what your circumstance or your situation is. Yeah, some of us, we got dealt a terrible hand and some of us didn't, but we can still be in the same place. And we can still have the same goals. We can still have, so it's like one of those things where it's like when we start unpacking the underneath and we start doing it with care, with love, but with honesty, like that's just been my journey. That's been my journey. These last 10 years working with students, helping them unpack just why they act out the way they do or why they think the way they think. And then tying into the emotions and then tying to like who's in control, them or the emotions, right? We call it the feelings balloon is the analogy we use. And I'm like, oh man, that was me when I was little. And so through my own personal growth journey, right? So that's where reach in, reach out comes out. I had to reach inside of me and I'm still reaching deep. I'm still trying to unpack the underneath with all the stuff that I've experienced in my life and all the things that I didn't think of how it affected me today. Like I would share my story of how my bio dad stepped out when my stepdad stepped in and stepped up. So I called my stepdad my real dad because he was the one who really stepped up while my bio dad stepped out. Just my experience. But when I started unpacking the underneath, I was like, oh, this is why I'm this way when it comes to being a husband. This is why I'm this way when it came to being a father. And it wasn't until I started like addressing that and just sitting with it and being with it is when I was able to start healing from it. Right. So just another piece, y'all, your boys, last one for this year, or this year of my life, I should say, is whenever I see folks who, that are doing hurtful or harmful things to themselves or to other people. All right, just gonna keep it simple. We see it, we know what that looks like, and it's gonna look different for everyone. But I keep it real simple. The question I ask myself and the thing that I actually pray for in those moments, I go, wow, what needs to be healed for that person? What type of healing does that person need? Because the behavior is a result of the emotion, which is a result of underneath. And there's always something underneath the underneath. So I go, wow, like what areas of their life need some healing? And I pray for that person. I'm like, yo, whatever is causing this mindset, whatever causes this behavior, whatever is pushing you to be this way or think this way or act this way, I'm going to pray that you can heal that part of you so you can become whole. And that's the results. Become whole, become complete. Right? As a believer, we believe in reconciliation, and reconciliation means to become whole with God again. And so my prayer every day, number one, God, what's my assignment today? Well, after thanking him for breath in my body, what's my assignment today? Then I'm always praying, Lord, that I can continue to strive towards becoming as whole as I can be, so that those I serve, so that those that are with me, those that are working with me, those that I'm partnering with, those that I'm, able to just spend time with can be whole as well. And my last little nugget, I didn't even do a reflection really, but last little nugget, the past is always present. The past is always present. Shout out to Vicky Abadesco, one of my mentors, who actually was one of my trainers and still trains me to this day when it comes to this SEL work, this internal work. She would say, the past is always present. And then I just added on to it. And I said, so the question is, how are we responding to what's present? Are we responding in the same exact way we've always responded? Or are we breaking the cycle? Or are we making it worse? So whenever something comes up for you, just know the past will always be present. But the question is, like, let's just say something happened to you when you were a child. Okay, that's always going to be present in some way, shape, or form. Something's going to activate. And notice I don't like to use the other word, the T word. It's not my thing. With all the gun violence, I just, personal preference. I'm like, whatever activates you. So when you're activated, things that happened when you were in your younger years, but now you're older, you're an adult, you're in your mid-20s, 30s, even 40s, and it's present. The question I'm going to ask is, are you still responding the same way? And then if so, is it helpful or is it hurtful? Is it working? Is it not working? Which is why I'm always go back to self-awareness. I'm always going to start there because it's about self. Like we hear time and time again, we are the problem, but we are also the solution. We are also the solution. Anyways, y'all, I just wanted to jump on. Let's see. Oh, I've been on 21 minutes, but I have actually another call right now that I'm jumping on. But I just wanted to say that this journey has been a blessing. The journey of being able to start this podcast with Ray, more importantly, which started through the UOU Mastermind, which started through the ETA community, which started through, ET deciding to just say, hey, I'm going to pour my heart out, which started with Carl recording the videos, which started with, as you can tell, we can go all the way back to God's plan. Jeremiah 29:11. So have a great weekend. Any questions, comments, please drop them in the chat. We are excited to just continue this journey, seeing the growth, not just within Ray and I, but seeing the growth in all of you. Yes, all of you watching this video. We're proud of you. And we are thankful that you are on this journey with us forever. How long God has us on the same train. Let's just cherish every moment, every second. Let's unpack the underneath. Let's remember the past is always present. But true growth happens. I had a little throwback here, y'all. When you realize I'm talking about the eyes of our heart, that you were created for greatness. Realize that you were made for this moment. You were made for this moment. There is something that you have. Your lived experience is so unique and unrepeatable that there are lessons there. There are wins, there's strength, there's wisdom that we need to take, reach in, take it out, and reach out and pour into others. So on behalf of Ray and Rye, either way you slice the pie, we just want to say thank y'all again. We will be dropping episodes again every 2 weeks. We're going to do some live recordings next week. We'll see what days. We'll be sure to post that in our Facebook group. And if you're not in the Facebook group, come on, y'all, get over to the Facebook group. And if you're not on the YouTube channel, come on, y'all, get over to the YouTube channel. We're actually partnering up, working on some things right now so that our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers as fast as possible, organically and dynamically. So stay tuned for that as we are seeing more and more of the opportunities that are in front of us. So God bless y'all. Have a blessed weekend. Your boy is out. Peace.